After my personal struggle with food left me sick and suicidal, I was struck with the realization that food alone can't fix us. So I set out to discover what could, and what I found changed everything. After coaching thousands of clients and interviewing the world's leading experts, I realized it was time to start a bigger conversation. What are you really hungry for?
It's great.
Ooh, good one.
What am I really hungry for?
I love that question.
It's time to discover what you're really hungry for. This episode is brought to you by the Institute of Transformational Nutrition. ITN offers the first and only personalized nutrition certification program that's backed by science and proven to get clients actual results and coaches actual income. If you're ready to be proud of what you do, feel like you matter, make a difference in someone's life, and actually get paid for it, then visit transformationalnutrition.com to take your first class toward your certification for free. When I was younger, I believed that to be a good person, I had to constantly give to others. I somehow thought that my worth was directly tied to how much I gave of myself. So I gave and gave and gave. I thought that it made me a good person. I thought that it would make people like me. And I had grown up hearing that I should be a good girl and not be selfish. So I thought giving of myself made me good and that that's just what I was supposed to do. And as I got older, I continued to give, even when I wasn't even giving to myself. I got to the point that I was running on fumes and extending myself to the point of feeling stressed out and fed up. And I started to resent people for taking so much from me, my energy, my love, my strength, even though I was willingly giving it. And I got to the point where I felt like I just didn't have anything left to give. You see, I kept expecting that somehow giving would fill me back up, that it would make my life more complete, better, if you will. But instead, it left me feeling run down, exhausted, and irritated. Maybe you felt the same way. Women especially tend to fall prey to this habit of giving to the point that they just don't have anything left, giving without any thought of ever receiving, giving to the point of being completely stressed out and unhealthy, giving to everyone and everything but themselves. Now, as you probably know, there's a major problem with this way of living. So let's dig a little bit deeper. I fly on average of once a week, and on every single flight, the flight attendant provides very clear instructions on what to do in case of an unexpected event. They tell you that no matter what, if there's a loss in cabin pressure and oxygen masks are released, that you're to put on your own mask before helping others. Doesn't matter who you are or who you're flying with, could be your husband, your wife, your parents, or even your child. You are to put your own oxygen mask on first. Now, they're telling you to take care of yourself first before even your child. Now, in many conversations all over the world, making sure that you're properly cared for before your child is cared for, those are fighting words. But take just a minute to think about why flight attendants are so adamant that you follow their instructions. If you put the oxygen mask on your child first, you may not have time to put your own mask on before you lose consciousness. But if you put your own mask on first, then both you and your child will have a much better chance of surviving and thriving. When I was growing up, I would often go to church services with my grandmother, and I can remember so many times the preacher saying, "You can't pour water from an empty cup." As a child, I took what he was saying very literal. Of course, if a cup is empty, you can't pour any water out of it. Seemed pretty clear to me. However, now I realize that his message was actually much, much bigger than that, and it had nothing to do with literally pouring water out of a cup. The message that he was trying to get across is that when a cup is empty, there's nothing inside of it that can be poured out. There's nothing to give. And this is what happens with people, particularly women and mothers. They give and give and give until their cup is so empty that they have nothing else to give. But when you have a cup that's overflowing, you naturally fill up all the other cups around you. And this is why taking care of yourself first is so very important. Because when you take the time to care for yourself, you can naturally care for others easier. When you give to yourself, you have more to give. There's a myth that taking care of yourself, that focusing on yourself, tending to your own needs is selfish, but there couldn't be anything further from the truth. I believe that you should be selfish for unselfish reasons. I also know that taking care of yourself is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself, for your family, and for everyone in your life. When you take care of yourself first, you have more to give to others. Your cup is overflowing, and you're way better able to nurture relationships, to create love, joy, and bliss in your life. You see, when you're burned out from always giving, nothing feels very fun or joyful. Instead, everything just feels like work and struggle, and to be honest, it's exhausting. Not only does it affect your relationship, but it also affects your health, your work, and even your children's well-being. Imagine how your life would change if you could joyfully give to others rather than feeling overwhelmed or stressed out about how much you're asked to give. If you felt as though what you had the capacity to do for others is truly a gift rather than an obligation. Our guest today, Kirkman, is a certified transformational nutrition coach that serves busy women entrepreneurs who need to learn to care for themselves first so that they have more to give to others, to the world. Because you can't create health when you're not healthy. And you can't create love in your relationships and in the world when you don't have love and take care of yourself first. Kay, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we are talking about what I feel like is a big topic today. We're talking about being selfish for unselfish reasons. And I feel like when we talk about being selfish, it's like that's a dirty, dirty word, right? Yeah. But help us understand, like, what does selfish mean?
When you think about being selfish, it really is serving the people that you want to serve. Because when you're selfish, you take care of yourself, you have so much more to give others. I feel like we're so afraid to ask for help sometimes. And sometimes that can help fill us as well. Like we can't do it all ourselves. I think we, especially as women, we've gotten into this whole thing where, you know, we're equal and we can do everything a man can do. And, and you know, we get into that and we forget that nobody makes it on their own. You know, we all need each other. You know, we're all bits that make this whole, and we need each other. And I think that when you think about caring for yourself and doing things for yourself that help others, it's all about, well, what do I need? So that could be considered selfish, but maybe what you need is help from someone else, or maybe someone else has what you need.
So, and I'm like one of the world's worst for this. I feel like asking for help makes me weak in some way. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm hearing you say is asking others for help, needing that help and asking for it is a way of being selfish.
Yeah, in a good way.
In a good way.
Right? And it can be considered strength too. Because
explain that to me, because I need to hear this. I need to know what you mean.
I think that when you ask for help, especially being someone who's strong and independent and someone who wants to do everything for themselves, and by the way, someone who's fully capable of doing everything yourself.
Explain to me how I can be selfish. And like, is there a midpoint? Is there a breaking point? Like, when is being selfish too selfish? Is that a thing?
I think a lot of what we're talking about, I think, also goes with what's the intention? What's the intention behind your quote unquote selfishness?
Got it.
You know, so it's like if I go into any situation with an intention that's not in line with the highest good for all concerned, let's say, right? So the best possible outcome for everyone. So I feel like if I'm being selfish, this is for the best possible outcome of my child, of my community, because I'm going to then have everything that I need to pour into them, right? So, but if the intention is something other than that, like I'm going to take what I can get, in order to serve myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not really thinking of others, then I think maybe it tips the scales.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So being selfish for selfish reasons,
Yes.
as opposed to being selfish for unselfish reasons.
Yeah. There's a
love
difference.
that. Yeah.
There's definitely a difference.
What's the first step for someone who thinks, I can't do that. I can't be selfish. I don't want to feel selfish. I don't want to feel like it's all about me.
Yeah.
But we need that, Kay.
Yeah.
We need that. We need to replenish. What's the first step someone can take? Even if it's, I don't know, is it shifting the mindset? You tell me.
I just feel like the first step is really finding the pain point. Like, where am I in pain? Where am I struggling? So is it the mom who is juggling 50 million things and she, left her child's lunch in the car because she couldn't remember to give it to her child?
That's never happened to me, by the way.
I know. We're just speaking hypothetically. Yeah, exactly. But like, where is the pain? Are you so exhausted and tired that you can't even drag yourself out of bed in the mornings? Are you starting to feel unhealthy? Are you starting to feel like, you know your body, right?
Yeah.
Are you starting to feel like it's 5 in the afternoon and you haven't eaten anything, right? So I think you have to identify for yourself, where's the struggle, where's the pain for you, and then I think that you then need to figure out, okay, what can I do in order to help me relieve that? How can I get out of struggle? So I think it's different for everyone, but I think the first step is really identifying for yourself and just really being real with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, where am I struggling here?
Yeah.
Because I'm not being selfish.
Yeah. You know what I think the biggest thing, because when I hear you say that, I identify with a lot of those things, right? I think we all do.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest thing that I hear from women when it comes to being not selfish, to being unselfish, is I just don't have time for me. I have no time for me, right? Do you ever hear that from women?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You're like, no, never heard that before. That's new.
Yeah.
What do you say to those women? Because I feel I feel like sometimes it's hard to lock down that pain. And even if we feel it, we just keep pushing. We're like, no, I got this. It's just what we do. As human beings, it's what we do. We push through, we persevere. So sometimes I think maybe like the biggest pain, if that's a pain, is I don't have time. So what would you say to someone who's like, I just have no time for me? I'd love to do those things, Kay. I really would. There's no time.
We all prioritize. We all make time for the things that are important to us. The same person says that, they can't prioritize being selfish for themselves is the person who's, can schedule in their favorite television show or have time for hop on Facebook, social media, or have time to get, stop at Starbucks, and get their latte. So I think we all have our things that we prioritize. And I think if you look really, really closely, when you say you don't have time, if you think about your schedule and all of the things you do, when you look at someone's schedule, you can see exactly what they value.
Preach. Just keep preaching. No, I'm with you. I wonder if keeping track of our time, like, do you ever recommend that women, men too, men do the same thing, it's just different, right? Do you ever recommend that people write down what they do every day when they say they don't have time?
Definitely. I think that's a great idea. Either, write down, or even if you already have a calendar, take a look at your calendar and see what you have scheduled.
You said that, we don't have time, we don't want to be selfish because people need us. Our kids need us to help them do things. Our husbands, our partners, our at work, our coworkers, people need us. What if by us feeling like they need us, we're taking away their opportunities? Like, are we disempowering them by doing for them instead of empowering them? Like Mama needs a shower. Mama needs a nap. Mama needs, I need to eat something. I need just some me time. I just need some peace and quiet for 10 minutes. Like, do you think we're taking away their power?
That's a great point. I never really thought about it that way, but it is disempowering. And then what about when you're not there? What are they going to do then? So it's almost like you're thinking about you're doing them a disservice by not allowing them to learn how to function without you.
Right. You made me think of something, and I think it's important. We need to feel needed. So the flip side of, are we not letting these people grow and learn to do things on their own and feel empowered? The flip side of that is, but I want them to need me.
I think it's a great point, because it is a basic need or a basic feeling that we want to be needed. We want others to need us. Yeah. And so being unselfish is a way for us to do that. So it's like we're serving our own purposes, but
it sounds like there's a middle ground.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It sounds like you're saying, like, that's okay. It's okay that you need to feel needed. It's all right. You said ask for help. It's okay to need people. Yeah. So it's okay but there's it's a balancing act, it sounds like, because when that's all you're doing, then you're sacrificing yourself. Yeah. How do you find the midpoint?
The balance. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I think it just all goes back to the intention.
Yeah,
I just feel like that drives everything. Your intention behind. I just think it's really powerful. Yeah, and I think that people do it without really realizing it sometimes, that they even have that intention. But when you can harness that and channel that, I just feel like, I think it's the intention. What is it that you really want to gain? Is it coming from a place of is it coming from a good place, or is it coming from another place? Yeah. So I just think that's huge in terms of finding that balance.
Is there a way that we can start to find that? Because I feel like we're just so slanted. Like, I feel like the balance thing is a conversation worth having, but I feel like we're just like slanted in the opposite direction. I mean, is it baby steps, Kay? Do we just go like full on? Like, how do we find that balance of being selfish for unselfish reasons?
I always feel like it works if you take a minute, and you can either write it down or just think in your head. Think about all these people that need you, right? Think about all these people that need you. So, your family, your community, your job, right? And then think about those same people without you around. Think about them not having you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so think about how much you love them and how much you really want to help them and serve them. Now think of you just not being in their lives because you're depleted, because you have nothing left, right? So I think sometimes when we really think about what life would be like for those that we love, the things that we care about without us, and think about how when you're not taking care of yourself, that's the road that you're going down, then it puts it in perspective. Yeah. Right? And then we can think about that balance, right? Because we know how important it is then.
Yeah. Okay, you're amazing. Thank you.
So are you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So the show is what you're really hungry for.
Yes.
Okay, tell me, what are you really hungry for?
What am I really hungry for? For me, it's connection, but it's even more than that. It's community. I feel like we have gotten so far away from this idea of the village, it takes a village. Yes. A lot of us don't know our neighbors, and we don't have a sense of community. And so I feel like I'm hungry for that. It's connection, but it's more community, and just finding out that, together, we're so much more powerful than we are in our silos by ourselves.
That's so beautiful. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of the awareness that you've created around this, very tough topic. I really appreciate you bringing some perspective and some light and giving us a different way to view that. So thank you for everything that you do in the world. Thanks for being you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This week is all about learning how to be selfish for unselfish reasons. We discussed how you tend to take care of others first, but how this cheats everyone of the gifts that you have to share. And how when you tend to your own well-being, you have more to give to others and you don't get burnt out, feel frustrated, and become resentful. So I invite you to choose one of Kay's tips that she discussed during our show and start implementing it in your life today. What one step can you take today to start taking better care of yourself and putting your own well-being first? What is one way that you can start being selfish for unselfish reasons? As always, the conversation continues at CynthiaPasquella.com. Head on over and leave a comment below this video telling me the one thing that you will do to start being selfish for unselfish reasons. Did you like this video? If so, please subscribe and then share it with your friends. And if you want to hear more from me, including things that I only share in email, then head on over to CynthiaPasquella.com and sign up for my email newsletter so you can become a part of this beautiful community of women who are discovering what they're really hungry for.
On next week's episode of What You're Really Hungry For.
There was something inside of me saying, this is not your life's purpose. But I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
That scared me.
Things have to change.
Things
right?
have to change.
Yeah.
I might have to own something about myself that I don't want to.
The Institute of Transformational Nutrition offers the first and only personalized nutrition certification program that's backed by science and proven to get clients actual results and coaches actual income. If you're ready to be proud of what you do, feel like you matter, make a difference in someone's life, and actually get paid for it, then visit transformationalnutrition.com to take your first class toward your certification for free.